Welcome to the late stream with the Big D. I'm the Big D. You are on his stream, and it is transfer deadline day, Monday, the 1st of September, and all Manchester United business seems to have been done and dusted. But before we get into that, remember, if you like the stream, please like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to click the notification button so that you know when the Big D stream hits. And also, if there's something on your mind, if something's bubbling up inside of you that you need to express, please express it in the chat. The Big D reads all of the chat, and he's always interested in what is on your mind. Anyway, well, the summer transfer is over. And has it been a good transfer window? Has it been an average transfer window? Could we have done better? I think we could have done a lot worse. We've had lots of incoming. We've had lots outgoing as well. It's been an interesting summer, I must admit, and one that I wasn't really expecting. I mean, to be honest, I didn't even know what to expect, to be fair, because it's been chaos at Man United for the past 12 months. Chaos. Quite literally the most chaotic time Man United have had in, 30, 40 years, something like that. It's been bedlam. We've had about, how many managers we had? 3. So we've had Ten Hag, who's just been recently sacked as well by Leverkusen. Tin Pot Ten Hag, he's gone after 2 Bundesliga games. I'm sorry. What an idiot. I just keep on thinking of Will Ferrell in Wedding Crashers when I think of Eric Ten Hag now. What an idiot. You know what I'm talking about. But Ten Hag, we've had Ruud van Nistelrooy, and now Ruben Amorim. Well, indeed. And then we've had players come, players go. We've had controversies with Marcus Rashford, players coming out in the media. We've had the new manager coming out in the media criticising the players. We've been told that we're skint. We've had announcements of new stadiums. We've had all kinds going on. It is mental. Anyway, we're going to get into everything. We're going to talk about everything. Hopefully the Big D's voice holds up. He's not drinking his usual alcohol-free tonight. He's drinking his Buxton water. He's a little bit dehydrated. Don't drink, kids. But tonight, we're going to be talking about Antony. We're going to be talking about Sancho. We're going to be talking about Hojlund. We're going to be talking about Senne Lammens as well. I'm maybe going to do a little bit of a profile about this guy. And and what does this mean moving forward for Manchester United? But as ever, thoughts in the chat. The Big D reads all of the chat. Speaking of which, we're going to look at the chat now. Niche fan, nice to see you again, my friend. What are you saying? Big D, the window has been a complete failure. Wow. Liverpool just signed Isaac on top of the previous 6 players. We're a million miles away from them. Amorim will be sacked over the break. Okay. Yeah, I remember you saying this the other day. You've got a point with the Liverpool transfer window. I mean, that Liverpool transfer window has been absolutely insane. I mean, if they don't win the league with that team for the 2nd year in a row, then, I mean, Arne Slot wants booted out of England. He'll certainly get booted out of Merseyside because that is an insane team that they've got now. It's ridiculous. But to say that it's been a failure of a window, I would kind of disagree with that, niche fans. And what else are you saying? Lammens will be thrust into the number 1 position and it will be too big for him. Well, it can't be any worse than what we've already got. I mean, I'd put myself in the nets over Onana at this point. So I think he deserves his shot. But we'll see. We're going to go into a little profile about him eventually. But let's get straight into it. So, okay, let's see what we've got here. So we're going to start with Antony. So Real Betis have completed a deal to sign Antony from Manchester United for nearly £22 million. The deal also includes 50% sell-on clause, and that is 50% of the profit, I believe, of Antony. Last season, he scored 9 times in 26 games across all competitions on loan at Betis. As Betis reached the Conference League final. Antony was signed from Ajax 3 years ago for £86 million. Man United have lost about £64 million on the Brazilian. You know, it's a shame Antony hasn't worked out at Manchester United. I'm not sure he got a fair crack of the whip. Personally, I was there for his debut at the Arsenal game and he came on straight after he'd just signed for all that money and he scored against Arsenal. It was quite a good goal as well. I think we beat them 3-1 that day. And Marcus Rashford played well. That was the season Marcus Rashford played well. Ten Hag's first season when he actually played a system that actually suited the players that he had at his disposal. And it suited his best players as well, including Rashford. And it's no coincidence that he scored about 30 goals that season. And, you know, anyway, back to Antony. But yeah, so the thing is with Antony, and I say this time and time again, he's a victim of the Man United dreaded microscope. Because he was signed for 86 million, you know, people expected him to be Lionel Messi, basically. Well, maybe not quite to that degree, but they expected him to be an absolute world beater straight away. And we shouldn't have paid 86 million for him, quite frankly. We should maybe pay maybe 60 million maximum. Like, I mean, that's maximum, probably 50. But because it's Man United, you know, there was the dreaded Man United tax on top. So everything's exaggerated with Man United. Everything, including transfer fees. So if we got him for, say, 50 million, there wouldn't have been anywhere near as much pressure on him. And he might have been able to sort of, you know, carve out a little niche for himself on that right wing. But unfortunately, that was not the case. I thought he did quite well in his first season, all things considered. But in his second season, he had a lot of personal issues, which obviously affected his form. And he never quite got his legs under him again after that. And then he became a meme. You know, the football and social media turned on him. And then it was just uphill for him then. And then obviously with the turmoil, with the club changing managers and all of that, it just wasn't going to work out. And it's clear that Ineos didn't believe in him. So they've just thought, let's just get rid of him. And we're not playing a system that suits him now anyway. So fair enough. He went to Betis last season and he done really, really well. I'm actually surprised we haven't got more money for him, to be honest, because he showed that he's actually a really good player and he's got something to offer and he's got a bit of charisma about him. So, yeah. But you never know. He'll maybe go to Betis and they might sell him on for 60 million to Juventus or something in a couple of years, something like that. And we might get 30 million off the back of that, which would make a nice bit of business. So we'll be able to claw something back from him on that front. But I don't have any bad feelings when it comes to Antony. I wanted it to work for him, but unfortunately it just didn't work out. So it is what it is. God bless Antony. Hope he does well in Betis. I hope he smashes it again like he did last season. And I hope he's not a Jesse Lingard and it's just downhill after that. But I don't know. He's still young enough. I think he's got something to prove. So let's see what happens. Back to the chat. Niche fan, Liverpool is basically invincible now. We took a 60 million loss on Antony. Unbelievable. Yeah, it is big. But as I've outlined there, I mean, it's just that Man United sort of tax that we get on everything. So it is what it is. So yeah, Antony, he's away. It is what it is. Didn't work out. He does suit La Liga. And, you know, see how he cracks on from there. But this next one, I'm a little bit sad about, to be perfectly honest. Rasmus Højlund going to Napoli on loan, and he's probably going to be staying at Napoli as well. It says here, Manchester United have confirmed Rasmus Højlund has completed a loan move to Napoli. The deal includes an obligation to make the move permanent, worth 43 million, if Napoli qualify for the Champions League. And it's important to note as well that, yes, they are obliged to pay the 43 million if they qualify for the Champions League. But if they don't qualify for the Champions League and Rasmus Højlund still does well and they still want to sign him, they do have the option to sign him as well. So the option is still there even if they don't get in the Champions League. If they get into the Champions League, it's an obligation. Okay, so it's important to note that. See, the thing is with Rasmus Højlund, again, I think he deserved one more season, Rasmus. His first season, he wasn't too bad under Tin Pot Ten Hag, right? He scored 15 goals across all competitions. It took him a while to get going, but eventually he got going, and then I think he got a little bit of an injury, and then it disrupted his momentum. And then after that, Ten Hag gets sacked, and then Ruben Amorim comes in and causes chaos. So the whole club's in turmoil. So he's having to get used to everything. And everyone was crap last season, bar one or two exceptions like maybe De Ligt and Bruno. So, and he's still young as well. So I don't feel as though Rasmus Højlund falls into the category of Omar Barada's 2-season rule, because he's had one season, fair enough. I think he deserves one more season of calmness. He deserved this season, to be quite frank. And then if he didn't do something this season, then fair enough, get rid. Because, I mean, we've only got one number 9 now, and that's Šeško, because Xerxes is not a number 9. He's a 9.5, or he's a 10. He's like Ruud Gullit, And I still think Joshua Xerxes still deserves another season, but I think Rasmus does as well. And for some reason, Ruben Amorim really likes Mason Mount, and he's insistent on playing him at number 10, when really what he should be doing is playing him at number 8, and Bruno should be at number 10. But Xerxes should be fighting for a number 10 berth. And in my opinion, it should be Højlund and Šeško fighting out for that number 9 berth. Up front for Manchester United. But alas, Rasmus Højlund is away, and it looks like he's gone, and that is that. But on top of that, some good news, kind of. Oh, something's just popped up there. Let me just make a little note of that. We'll talk about Garnacho in a little minute. And a little thing about Mainoo as well. Okay. Yeah. So Jadon Sancho, it looks like he is on his way to Aston Villa. It says here, Aston Villa have agreed a deal with Manchester United for Jadon Sancho. The deal is a straight loan. Sky Sports News understands that Villa will pay a loan fee and pay 80% of his wages. Bonuses inserted in the deal could cover full wage coverage. Sancho has entered the final year of his United contract, but United still have the option to extend for a further 12 months. Jadon Sancho, there's no reason why Jadon Sancho hasn't done better at Man United. He's been there long enough to have done something. It's not like Antony, where, things have been all over the place and whatnot, and he was still a young player. Jadon Sancho was, for a start, he's English, so there's none of this sort of getting used to a new country. He was there under Ollie. He should have done a lot better. He's always been a bit of a bad attitude in the changing rooms as well. And he's just been lazy. And considering he's getting about 300 grand a week, he's even worse than Marcus Rashford. At least Marcus Rashford has done something at Man United. He's won some trophies and he's scored some goals and played well at times. Whereas Jadon Sancho's done nothing. Nothing. If you ask me, Man United should... I don't know, actually. Can Man United sue him for not doing anything for the club? Because he's barely played. So Jadon Sancho, I'll be glad to see the back of him. And do you know what? I really wanted him. He was class on Football Manager a couple of seasons back. And when we signed him to be a right winger, and then he got here, and then all of a sudden he says, I don't play on the right wing, I play from the left, inside forward. And it's like, well, we've already got about 4 players playing there. We've got Garnacho, Ronaldo, and Marcus Rashford. Why didn't you tell us that before you signed your big 300 grand a week contract? You lazy get. Yeah, Jadon Sancho, I'm glad to see the back of this guy completely. So he's away. And it'll be interesting to see what happens there, because If he plays well, Villa are obviously going to want to sign him. Now, Man United have got a choice to make. Do they exercise that option and extend his contract for a further 12 months to get a transfer fee? Is that what they do? Or do they just say, just go. Just leave. We don't want you here anymore. You don't live here anymore. Go away to Birmingham. Because either way, as long as he's out of the club, because whatever, Sancho, he's gone, and that's all I'm going to say about that. But yeah, so Garnacho, this little bugger, has made a little statement, I think. Let's have a little look here. This is what he says. Garnacho, dear Manchester, after an unforgettable 5 years, this special chapter in my life now comes to a close. We have created moments that will stay with me forever, and I'm very grateful for this. To the coaches, staff, and my teammates, thank you for believing in me. Every time I wore the badge, I gave everything I had. I'm not sure I'd agree with that. I leave proud of what we achieved together and excited for what's to come. Wishing the club nothing but success for the future, while I look forward to giving my all in the next chapter of my career. For a player that didn't really learn how to trap a ball and pass a ball correctly, I'm not sure that's qualified as giving it your all. He was very hit and miss, Garnacho. He's had a pretty decent highlight reel, but he was very inconsistent. And I mean, to give the devil his due, when he played in a system that suited his style, he was fantastic. But considering all he does is play football 7 days a week, or whatever it is, for the fact that he can't learn some basics and learn how to pass a ball correctly, it's just a little bit unfortunate that he didn't do better for us, really. But yeah, he's away as well. And to be honest, I'm quite glad to see the back of him as well. He's been overrated. Completely overrated. I hope he goes to Chelsea and proves me wrong. I genuinely do. And I probably will miss singing Viva Garnacho because that's a good song. But it is what it is. Ciao for now. Kobbie Mainoo. He's staying, and it's a good job as well because we're running out of midfielders. Mason Mount injured, and so is Matthias Cunha. So that's not good. And Big D's pen's not working. There it is. Anyway, so Kobbie Mainoo will be staying at Manchester United with no chance of moving away. Man United are pretty comfortable with their midfield options. Mainoo is very much part of midfield plans going forward, and that really puts an end to any speculation around his future. Once they get a goalkeeper, Seny Lammens, over the line, we're not expecting any more incomings in the midfield department. And just to add to that, Kobbie Mainoo is staying at Manchester United and will not be leaving before the deadline. Well, I think that's evident because the deadline's gone. But the midfielder had asked to leave on loan late in the window to get more game time, but United expect him to fight for his place in the first team. United are not expecting any further incomings after Lammens on deadline day. Reinforcing the midfield was an area United looked at in the window, but they are happy with the options of Ugarte, Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, Mason Mount and Kobbie Mainoo. Yeah, I mean, I think that's fine. I think that's fine because Ugarte could still have a breakout season. Kobbie Mainoo, if he knuckles in, could have a good season as well. And if Ugarte plays as well as I think he can, and if Kobbie Mainoo plays as well as we all know he can, then there's no reason why that midfield can't do really, really well in the Premier League this season. I mean, Mason Mount, I'm not unhappy about Mason Mount playing. I just don't like the fact that he plays at number 10. I want to see Mason Mount play at number 8. Stick him in there alongside Casemiro or Ugarte and just let him link the midfield to the attack and interlink with the defence and all of that good stuff. And give him a shout there. All this number 10 business, no thank you. No. Bruno needs to be up there And that's where Bruno needs to be. It's as simple as that. But yeah, it's good that Kobbie Mainoo has been told he's staying, because I think Kobbie Mainoo's got a little bit big for his boots, to be quite frank. And he thinks he's made it when he hasn't. He thinks he's done something, and he's done nothing. He's had a little bit of a breakthrough, but he hasn't cemented himself as a first-team star yet. He could have it. He's got all the potential in the world. But this coming season is a crucial point in his season. Does he become Ravel Morrison, or does he become Paul Scholes? I mean, they're both as talented as each other, Ravel Morrison and Paul Scholes, but one of them had the mentality and the work ethic to fight for his place in that team. One of them didn't. One of them achieved his full potential and won everything at club level, and the other one didn't do anything. So, which one's Kobbie Mainoo going to be? That's the question. And I don't like his attitude of late. This business about demanding a loan and all of this when he knows the team needs him, that's shocking, that. He knows the team needs him, and he knows the team needs another midfielder, and he knows that they're a little bit short in midfield as well, and yet he's asking for a loan because he wants to develop himself. Selfish little get. He needs to sort himself out and working himself at Old Trafford, in Carrington, inside that brand new fancy pants training facility, and work his way in that team. I mean, look, Casemiro's past it. He's better than Ugarte. Ruben Amorim is shoehorning Bruno Fernandes in midfield, and he's adamant he doesn't want to play Mason Mount there. So the central midfield berth is there waiting for him. All he needs to do is pull his finger out of his ass and put the effort in. And it's there. And he plays every single week, and he goes to the World Cup next summer. Footballers, eh? It's not rocket science. Anyway, what's going on here? Niche fan, what you saying? Big D, we don't have a viable midfield. Losing to Grimsby, going life and death with Burnley is shocking. Cunha is more of a 9 than Xerxes, maybe. And Niche fan is saying that Sancho can't be sued. I know, I'm just being a little bit grumpy, that's all. But losing to Grimsby, I don't think had anything to do with the midfield. Losing to Grimsby had everything to do with the goalkeeper. It was the goalkeeper's fault that we lost against Grimsby, because if we'd had a half-decent goalkeeper in the nets, if the Big D was in the nets, it would have been 2-0. The Big D's not even a goalkeeper, but that's how crap that goalkeeper was that night, and he's just crap, and I'm glad we signed a new goalkeeper. Why is the Big D getting irate? He's not getting irate. This is going to be a nice stream tonight. Anyway, so, yeah. All you guys watching, all 39 here, remember, thoughts in the chat. The Big D reads all of the chat, and he's always interested in what is on your mind. So, we've talked about Garnacho, we've talked about Mainoo, we've talked about Antony, Sancho, and Højlund. So now, on to some really, really good news, and that is the signing of Senne Lammens. Big D, bloody... tell you, this bloody pen of mine, eh? It's not working. Right, here we go. Seny Lammens. We've signed him. So this is what it says on Seny Lammens. Okay. Where we at? Okay. So Seny Lammens has signed for Manchester United. Thankfully. And for some reason, where are we at here? Here we go. So Seny Lammens signed for Manchester United from Royal Antwerp, and Man United have agreed to pay £19 million for the young Belgian goalkeeper from Royal Antwerp. He's a strong shot stopper known for his excellent mentality, composure, and impressive shot stopping ability, with analytics showing he prevents more goals than his expected goals would suggest. However, He still needs to improve his accuracy to become a top-class player, and there are differing opinions amongst fans about whether his potential justifies the investment, with some preferring a more experienced option like Emiliano Martinez, who really wanted to sign for Manchester United, but alas, we went for Seny Lammens. So Seny Lammens, his strengths are shot stopping. Lammens is a serious shot stopper, making the most saves in the Jupiler Pro League last season and preventing significantly more goals than expected, according to football expert Kevin Hatchard and BBC Sport. Mentality. He has a strong and calm mentality, which is highly valued by coaches and experts. And he's got good leadership and command. Insider's note, he is brave in the 6-yard box, confident when coming off his line, and isn't afraid to catch the ball. And his ball playing ability, he's comfortable using both his right and left foot and looks for footballing solutions when in possession. Areas for improvement. To reach his full potential, he needs to improve the accuracy of his passes and decision making. Experience. He's seen as a young, raw talent who will need time to develop and gain experience in a more competitive league, according to Transfermarkt. Why Manchester United signed him? So Manchester United's ownership is focusing on youth and potential, and Lammens fits this profile with the club seeing him as a long-term project. He is also seen and viewed in Belgium as a potential long-term successor to Courtois for the national team. His impressive underlying stats and shot-stopping ability make him statistically one of the best young goalkeepers in the world. So, yeah. And this is what it says. So Manchester United have agreed a deal in the region of 18.2 million to sign Royal Antwerp goalkeeper Seny Lammens. The 23-year-old will sign a 5-year deal at the club. A deal sheet has been submitted for United to complete the transfer beyond Monday's 7 p.m. deadline. Sky Sports News understands that United looked at other options, including Aston Villa goalkeeper Emiliano Martinez, but after much deliberation and negotiation, it was decided Lammens is the right choice for the club moving forward. And as it stands, United are expected to move further forward with 4 goalkeepers, adding Lammens to the current group of Altay Bayindir, Andre Onana and Tom Heaton. However, the windows in Turkey and Saudi Arabia are open until September the 11th and 10th, respectively. It is understood that if a suitable offer were to come in for the other keepers, it would be considered. Head coach Ruben Amorim had previously said he was happy with his goalkeeping department despite several high-profile errors from Onana and Bayindir across the early stages of the season. But the Belgian shot-stopper Lammens now looks set to become the 5th signing of the summer for Ruben Amorim, taking their summer spend to £232 million, following the arrival of Benjamin Šeško, sound like Goldmember from John Travolta as Goldmember in Goldmember, Matthias Cunha, Brian Mbeumo and Diego Leon. Lammens made 30 appearances in the Belgian Pro League last season for Antwerp, keeping 7 clean sheets. And apparently, he made the most save out of the top 20 leagues in Europe last season, which is insane. Out of like all the leagues. And apparently, he's very calm. His mentality is good. Yeah, he's seen as a rising star in Belgium for quite a while. I've looked at some of his highlight reels on YouTube. He looks pretty decent, but the only concern is obviously it's in the Belgian league. You know, can he transfer that over to the Premier League? We'll see. You never know. You never know. He used to be at Club Bruges, but couldn't get a game because of Simon Mignolet, who was in excellent form at the time. But he went to Antwerp and did really well. And apparently, an interesting thing to note, when Ruben Amorim was at Sporting, Ruben Amorim wanted him when he was at Sporting. So yeah, So we've got Seny Lammens. As far as I'm aware, I don't think there's anything else happening at the moment as it stands. I think that is it. That's not good. Let me just double check that. Yeah, that's it. So that's transfer deadline day, really. Yeah, I think it's been a good transfer deadline, to be honest. Well, a good transfer window. I mean, what was it? Back in March, Sir Jim Ratcliffe said that United were skint and they'd have ran out of money by October. Yeah, in the space of a couple of months, they've spent £232 million. Sir Jim played an absolute blinder. But it's good, though. It's good. I mean, look, I know people don't like what Sir Jim's done with sort of ticket prices and all of that. I don't like what he's done with ticket prices and all of that as well. But in terms of pure business sense, the guy does seem to know what he's doing. And he understands that if he's going to get a return on the huge investment he's put into Manchester United, then he needs to get that team winning again. Because as soon as Man United start winning trophies again, that brand will just go through the roof. And I mean, it's already high up there, but the amount of money it'll be able to generate in this era if it wins the Premier League and the Champions League again. And the only way they can do that is by investing in the first team. So yeah, on that front, Sir Jim is playing well, and you don't become the 7th richest man in Britain, worth about £30 billion, without being good with money and investments and things like that. So, at the very least, he's put his hand in his pocket, and he's wrote the checks, and we've got some good players in. I am happy with all of the players that we've brought in. I might have preferred one or two others, as in, I'd have preferred Donnarumma if he was gone, obviously. But, he went to Chelsea and he wanted 400 grand a week. So we've gone for the next big thing, which is fair enough. And if we've got him for 18 million, then okay, fine. 18 million, and the lad's probably on about 80 grand a week. So we've got him cheap all around. And he's and if we sold him, we could probably get a £50 million profit on him or something like that. But the point is, we've got Lammens. Yeah, happy with that. Happy with Cunha. Happy with Mbeumo. Šeško, yeah. I mean, because compared to what was on offer, it was either him or Gyökeres. I wasn't necessarily sure. Oh, excuse me. I wasn't necessarily sure about Gyökeres. I mean, if we got him, fair enough. I mean, Šeško, I think Šeško's the only one where I feel as though we might have overpaid. But you never know. He might turn it on, and it's early doors. We'll see. We'll see. But generally speaking, I'm quite happy with what we've done in the transfer window. I mean, the team's significantly improved. And I know we've been a bit crap this past 3 games, but at the very least, Ineos have specifically identified the problems that's happening in that first team, and they address them straight away as best they can, right? So at the beginning of the transfer window, the main priority was goals. So what did they do? They went out there and bought a brand new front line, okay? The next major issue was goalkeeper, particularly over the past 3 days. So what have they done? They've gone out there and they've bought a brand new goalkeeper, okay? So the next issue, fair enough, is central midfield, but regardless of what people have been saying, central midfield has not been a massive priority because we've still got Casemiro, we've still got Ugarte, we've still got Kobbie Mainoo, we've still got Bruno that can play there, and Mason Mount. Okay, so it's not like we've got awful players in central midfield like we had in the Nets. Okay, and go back to January as well. In order to create a little bit of balance in the Ruben Amorim system, we needed a left wing back. So what did they do? They went out and bought a left wing back. So Ineos, to be fair, are at the very least addressing the main issues in the first team as quickly and as efficiently as they possibly can without spending an absolute fortune and paying that stupid 20, 30% Man United tax on any transfers. And we haven't been fleeced yet since Ineos came in and took over at Manchester United. And there's no one earning stupid wages that doesn't deserve it. I mean, the only person that deserves the wages that they're on at the moment, if you ask me, is Bruno Fernandes, right? But yeah, so they've done all right, So let's have a little look at the chat, see who's saying what. The chat is going off on fire at the moment. Let's see. Okello Matthew Martin's joining United. You're talking about Martinez? I don't think he is, pal, to be quite honest. Bang, bang, you all right, pal? Please beat the Scousers this season, Manchester United, and please beat Chelsea and all. I know you can't stand Chelsea, can you, Bang, bang? I'll make sure you beat Man City in the next game and get revenge on Arsenal at the Emirates, will you? Ten Hag is in the mud. Yeah, Eric Ten Hag, I'm assuming you mean. Tin Pot Ten Hag, sacked after 2 Bundesliga games. What an idiot. Stuck in the mud, Ten Hag is stuck in the mud. Wouldn't it be great if we beat City and then they sack Guardiola? That would be hilarious. That would make my life. I don't think they're getting rid of Guardiola anytime soon, bang, bang. I mean, it hasn't been a good start. Who knows what's going on over there? I think if Pep Guardiola does end up leaving Man City, he'll be walking. He'll resign. But the question is, where does he go? Manchester United will get revenge on the enemy of football for his boring tiki-taka and those 2 Champions League finals. The ultimate revenge. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of all these new systems and things like that. But that being said, I've spoken to a couple of Portuguese fans who sort of keep an eye on Ruben Amorim and Manchester United. And I've heard from 2 separate people that they've said very specifically, stick with Ruben Amorim because it's crap at first, but if you can get through that initial period of where it's crap, which we just went through a massive chunk last season, then eventually everything just clicks into gear, and then all of a sudden everything just explodes and Manchester United will just start dominating. And they both reckon that Ruben Amorim is the next great manager, the one that's going to do to football what Pep Guardiola did and just change the way it's played with this revolutionary new system. I hope that's the case. Whether it is the case is a different kettle of fish. And let's just hope that Ineos stick with their man. Ramadan, who is Man United deadline transfer done deal? Seny Lammens, my friend. We've got a brand new goalkeeper. And if you just rewind a little bit on the chat, I went through a little profile on him. He looks pretty good. Have a look at his YouTube highlight reel. He's the natural heir to Thibaut Courtois, apparently. And he's 23. He's come from Royal Antwerp, 19 million, 18 million, something like that. And it probably looks like he's going to go straight into the United first team after the international break. If he doesn't, there's something seriously wrong. None of this easing him in like this Šeško business. He needs to be thrown in like David De Gea. Eventually, he got it right. M. Sultan, Guehi transfer collapsed. Best news I've heard that. Yeah, fair enough. But, I mean, still, I think Liverpool are just pushing the luck with the Guehi transfer. And I don't know where they're getting their money from. Seriously, where are they getting their money from? Because what about all this financial fair play business and all of that? You know, how are they affording to spend all that money on all of these players in one window? I don't get it. M. Sultan, top 8 is there for the taking. City ain't been in the best of form and don't have their main man De Bruyne anymore. Yeah, I'm still surprised that they sold De Bruyne, to be quite honest. Nathaniel and Kangethe, good Man U fans. Listen and hear, Sir Ineos has promised that in 3 years, Man United should be having a new stadium, construction ongoing, and will be back as the best team in the world. Yeah, the stadium looks interesting, but I am very, very concerned about how much the season tickets are going to be in this big fancy pants new circus tent, because the big D's dad, the big Ron, He's a season ticket holder. The Big D bought for him for his retirement, and he's got a fantastic seat that I picked in the Stretford end, and he loves it. He loves it. I've never seen my dad happier, right? And I mean, when we bought it, it was a reasonable price, a pensioners ticket, so there was a discount. But in the space of like 3 or 4 seasons, it's like doubled, quite literally. So the pensioners ticket is the price of a normal full price ticket that I could have probably got as well 10 years ago, say. So it's insane how quick that has gone up. And I've heard Sir Jim talk about that nonsense about, why can't Man United charge the same price as, say, Fulham? And it's like, well, because you're in the north for a start, dickhead. So I am really, really concerned about how much my dad's season ticket's going to cost in 4 years' time, or however long it takes to get the circus tent up, But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Hopefully, it's not a lot. Or hopefully by that stage, the Big D's got 1 million subscribers. Maybe you guys can help me with that. And then it won't matter because the Big D can just buy it himself. No problem. $2,000, whatever it is, and he can put it through as a tax expense. So if anyone's from the HMRC watching tonight, remember, we're all on the same team. This is a Man United fan channel, and you wouldn't want to get a Big D in trouble in 4 years' time when he puts his dad's season ticket through his self-assessment tax expense because he's there doing some research for the Big D. So he's going to come back and report. So it's an essential expense for the Big D. He's scouting for the Big D's channel. So that's why I can justify it. Ha ha ha! Please don't arrest me. Anyway, famous number 7. Nice to hear from you, my friend. Really good job of changing this squad. Lots of players leaving and an exciting team now. Don't forget signings like Yoro and Dorgu were not for immediate impact and just keep getting better. I wholeheartedly agree, famous number 7. Dorgu does seem to be getting better and better. In fact, I think he made an immediate impact last season. He allowed the team to have more width. He's an incredible athlete, bombing up and down there, that left-hand flank. He's a little bit raw, fair enough, and a little bit clumsy at times, but it's definitely there. There's no reason he can't have a breakout season this year. And Yoro, at the back end of last season, all of a sudden became like really, really good. And I'll tell you the moment he became really good. I think he came on against the Scousers. And I remember watching it with a pal of mine, and he was coming on, and I thought, oh, God, no. He come on, and I thought he's going to let something in here. He's going to be crap. He's going to get bossed around. And then he made an absolutely amazing tackle. He might have been on Gakpo. I can't remember. But it was in the box. And if he timed it wrong, it would have been a penalty. But it wasn't. It was timed perfectly. And it was absolutely sensational. And ever since then, he's just went from strength to strength to strength. And if you ask me, he is an automatic starter for Manchester United right now. And I would say now the transfer window's done. The starting 11 has to be. If he does this starting 11 that I'm about to lay out now, the team starts to win consistently. Lammens in the nets. He doesn't have to be world class straight away. He just has to be consistent. That's it. If he's consistent, he's already 5 times better than what we've already got. So Lammens has to start. None of this easing in crap. Just get him in those sticks ready, right? So that's number 1. That is the number 1. So Lammens starts. Back 3. Well, Yoro, Matthias de Ligt, and well, I like Harry Maguire, but I think we need a little bit of pace at the back. So I would probably go for Luke Shaw. Stick Luke Shaw at the back because he's got a little bit of pace. So stick him there. Yeah. I want to say Mazraoui as well, maybe. I mean, you could interchange Mazraoui and or Luke Shaw. I mean, there's Aiden Heaven as well, but I don't think he's quite ready to start. And there's that other Jan as well. So what's his name? Tyler Fredrickson. Again, he's just young and he's up and coming. So maybe not him just yet. So yeah, I'm going to go with Luke Shaw, Matthijs de Ligt and Lenny Yoro. Left wing back, Bogu, no problem. Right wing back. For me personally, it can be either or. Either Diallo or Dallo. One or the other, I'm not too bothered, to be quite honest. Really, really not bothered. I don't think it makes much difference at this point. Two central midfielders has to be, in my opinion, Casemiro and Kobbie Mainoo. Now, I know what you're going to say. Casemiro, he's got no legs and all of this. He's long past it. Yeah, you're right. He is long past it. But he's got the experience. And if he's told to just sit back and just patrol the back three, just be a shield, and then whenever he gets the ball, he either sort of releases someone on a wing, or he passes it to someone up front, or passes it to Mainoo, who then releases someone on the wing. Then that's all he needs to do. He doesn't need to be a box-to-box midfielder. He can just sit. He's actually a really good passer. So just let him sit back and pass the ball. That's it. That's all he needs to do. He's still got the fight. He's still good in the air. He's still got something to offer. And he's got the experience as well. Remember, Teddy Sheringham couldn't run. He wasn't fast at all, but he was intelligent. So he knew where to place himself to get the ball, and he thought about 3 steps ahead of everyone else. So if Casemiro can learn to do that, then he doesn't need to do any running around. Paul Scholes was the same. Paul Scholes didn't ever used to do any running around towards the end there. So there's no reason why Casemiro can't do the same thing. So yeah, so Casemiro and Kobbie Mainoo, right? Those two. Then the 3 up front, well, it's Cunha, Bruno Fernandes, and Bryan Mbeumo. That's it. Stick them. And then what you can do, you can bring on Šeško and just ease him in. You can bring on Mason Mount, just, when Casemiro gets a little bit tired or something like that. Bring on Ugarte when he gets a little bit tired or something like that. That's what because you need a squad as well. And just stick with that starting 11. Because we're only in the league and the FA Cup now. So you can play your strongest team every single week now. There is no need for rotation outside of injury, because they shouldn't get tired now. They shouldn't get tired at all now, because they've got at least a week between every single game now, so they can play their starting 11 every single week. And that should allow sort of Casemiro as well to retain his fitness and give him more time to recover, so that he can give 100% all season. And then in January and February, once we qualify for the Champions League this season, then we can go out and buy some big boys to play in central midfield and replace Casemiro, whose contract will be up by then, and we're not paying £400,000 per week for him. But it's very simple. Very, very simple. So Lammens in the nets, Luke Shaw, Matthijs de Ligt, Dallo, the 3 centre-backs. You can play Dalot or Diallo right wing-back. You play Dorgu left wing-back. Casemiro and Mainoo in central midfield, and then Bruno and Mbeumo and Cunha up front. And then obviously you've got a nice bench of players like Xerxes to come on to change it around if you need to. You've got Mason Mount to change it around if you need to. You've got Ugarte to bring on if you need some fresh legs as well. You can do all of that kind of good stuff. And I'm sure there's more players there that I just haven't remembered at this particular point. But you know what I'm saying. But what do you think of that starting 11? You tell me. But let's go back to the chat. Bang, bang. Revenge of the Reds, baby. Maybe. Niche fan, we needed Martinez. We need someone to come in ASAP. Lammens will feel it's too soon for him. Maybe. I mean, that's a fair concern, Niche fan, but I prefer to be positive in this instance. Give the guy a chance. And to be honest, I think he is still probably better than what we've already got. Ramadan, what about Carlos Baleba in transfer deadline day? Yeah, well, it's over now. We haven't got him, and they wanted too much money. They didn't want to sell him this summer. And Brighton, if they were going to sell him, United had to pay about 150 million, which they're certainly not going to pay. But he does look good. Fair enough. I think he's going to be one for next season. I think if we have a good season this season, I think the first thing, well, the priority is a central midfielder next year. Hey, you never know. If we do really well up until Christmas, we might buy Baleba in January. We'll see who comes available. You never know. But yeah, I think the Baleba train has already gone at this point. But he's certainly on the wish list for the next opportunity for sure. Emmanuel Asifua. Nice to hear from you, Emmanuel. Onana, I hope I've pronounced that right. Onana should leave United by now. Yeah, I think what's going to happen there, he's probably going to go to Saudi Arabia, I reckon. Saudi Arabia or Turkey. I can't see them sell both Bayindir and Onana. I think it's one or the other. I think they'll get more money for Onana, considering he is, at the end of the day, he was voted the best goalkeeper in the Champions League miraculously a few years back. So, and he's played a Champions League final. So, and he is actually quite a good shot stopper. He's just a bit of a calamity. And I don't see why he can't do well in a league like Turkey or Saudi Arabia or something like that. He's just not Man United level, unfortunately. And we could probably still get a little bit of money for him. I think we could easily get 30 million for him and get him off the wage bill. And the Saudis are dumb enough to sort of spend that money on him. So I think he's probably going to go now, because he's not going to get back in that team now that we've got Lammens. Lammens is going to be unquestionably the number one now, if Ruben Amorim's got any sense. But Ruben Amorim needs to stop overthinking things, right? Pep Guardiola does the same thing. He just overthinks it sometimes. Just keep it simple. Put your best players in the best positions, and then just let them play. You know, it's not rocket science. I keep on saying this, but it doesn't seem to sink in. Maybe Ruben Amorim's not a subscriber to the Big D streams, which would be strange. Why wouldn't he? But if he was, he'd be getting some really interesting nuggets from the Big D, because I think the Big D talks a lot of sense, you know, and so do the people in the chat like Bang Bang and Emmanuel. So, you know, why wouldn't he mine this cave of golden nuggets, you know? But we'll see. Bang Bang, Amorim is a manager that fixes teams for the long term, doesn't get short-term victories. That's why we need to stick to the plan. I 100% agree, Bang Bang. We need to stick to the medium to long-term plan. None of this short-term manager merry-go-round nonsense. Ruben Amorim. And to be fair, we have played quite well at times this season. We have looked tasty. And I think I'll get a couple of games in. I'll actually go to a couple of games before Christmas, I think, once the season gets going. I've had to turn down a couple of tickets, to be honest, because the Big D has other little things that he's been doing in the background. Watch this space. But at some point, I'm going to go to Old Trafford and I'm going to, you know, post some nice videos on my chat. So remember to subscribe and like and share and all of that good stuff, so the Big D can get more and more subscribers, so he can reach 1 million subscribers, because he'll need 1 million subscribers so he can afford his dad's season ticket in the new Circus Tent Stadium. We can't have the Big Ron out in the proverbial footballing streets, can we, guys? All 61 of you. Please, put it in the chat. Hashtag save Big Ron's ticket. I want to get that trending on X, on YouTube, on TikTok, all over. Hashtag save the Big Ron's ticket. Hashtag Man United. Hashtag the Big D. Hashtag Sir Jim. Hashtag Ineos. Hashtag Ruben Amorim. Hashtag the Big Ron. But you know what I mean. Bang Bang, what else you saying? If you want short-term victories, go for Ollie or Tin Pot Ton Ten Hag. Yes. Or Jose Mourinho. He's knocking around. Portuguese people. Hang on. What are you saying? Oh, I think I've just missed something. Oh, there it is. Bang, bang. Portuguese people. That's my pupils. They tell me this all the time. I trust this to be the truth. I'm assuming you're talking about what I said earlier on about Ruben Amorim being the next great manager. So, hey, I hope that's the case, because that would be very interesting that Man United managed to dig up the next great manager, you know? So we've had that, because let's say Ruben Amorim is the next great manager. That would mean Man United have had 4 of the greatest managers of all time. Sir Matt Busby, Sir Alex Ferguson. Whether you like it or not, Jose Mourinho was a game changer. And Ruben Amorim, if he fulfills this potential that apparently he's got. But we'll see. Oh, yeah, and Leeds are in the league this season as well. Hate Leeds. Yeah, dirty Leeds. Do you know the first time the Big D went to see a Man United match live, it was against Leeds, and it was at Elland Road, and I was sat in the Leeds end because the Big D's dad, the Big Ron, hashtag the Big Ron, he had a friend who he worked with who was a Leeds fan. I don't know why he's got friends who are Leeds fans, because I don't know. Maybe the Big D needs to have a word with the Big Ron. I don't think he speaks to him now. But nonetheless, he did at the time. And he got a couple of tickets and he took me, he took me to the match. But unfortunately, because we got the tickets from this guy who's a Leeds season ticket holder, you could only get tickets for in the Leeds end. So we were under strict instructions to keep quiet. But it was a good game. Man United won 4-0. And it was made famous by Karol Poborski scoring a brilliant goal, Eric Cantona missing a penalty in the first half, but then at the end, in the last minute, he scores a tap-in from the back post, and then he stands in front of the Leeds fans who have been booing him incessantly for 90 minutes and just gives it the old Cantona, the Gallic flair. It was fantastic. Yeah, it was good, and that was the Big D's first ever match that he went to see Man United. And his second one is, well, his first match at Old Trafford was in 1998, and it was the match where it was almost like an Eric Cantona testimonial. So they had a Man United 11 versus a World 11, and Eric Cantona played for both sides, and it was sort of his farewell, because he never got to say goodbye to the fans. So they arranged this match for him, and have a look at it. It's really good. There's some really good players playing. I think Gaza might have played, actually. Do you know what? I'm going to look into this. I'm going to ask my lovely AI assistant, see what she says, because the Big D has seen some really good players in the Big D's time, and I've got a feeling that there was some cracking players playing in that game that year. So I'm just going to have a look at this. But it was a nuts game. I think it was like a weird score. Back in 1998, Manchester United staged a pre-season friendly, and it was something like Man United versus a World 11, and it was almost like Eric Cantona's farewell match. It was like a testimonial or something like that. Can you tell me the details of that match? I want to know the starting 11 of both sides and what the score was, please, and any other interesting tidbits from that game. Let's see what she says. But yeah, it was an interesting time, and I met Jaap Stam as well, because we just signed Jaap Stam for a world record for a defender. I think it was like 10.9 million or something, which was a world record at the time. And who says Fergie didn't spend money? Fergie used to spend a lot of money. People always say Alex Ferguson used to build teams from youth and all of that. Well, yeah, half of the teams were perhaps youth, but the other half, he used to spend an absolute fortune. But he seemed to buy well when he did spend the money. And obviously, Jaap Stam is arguably the greatest defender in Premier League history, certainly in the conversation anyway. Yeah, this is it. Yeah. So it was a combined Munich air disaster memorial game and Eric Cantona's farewell match held on the 18th of August, 1998 at Old Trafford, about 40 years after the tragedy and following Cantona's retirement. There was 55,000 fans. That seems quite low. Maybe the stadium was expanded a little bit after that. Yeah, maybe it was. The final score was an 8-4 victory, and it was Manchester United versus a European 11. Wow, there's some good players. Notable moments and tidbits. Cantona started the match for the European 11, only to switch into the United shirt at half-time. A powerful symbolic moment that brought the Old Trafford crowd to its feet. The game raised significant funds for the Munich disaster survivors and families, underlying its dual purpose of tribute and celebration. A minute's silence was held, emphasising that the match was more than just a spectacle. It was a deeply emotional event for the club and the community. It's not giving me the teams, though. What were the teams? I want to know the starting 11 of each team, please. Let's see what else it says. But it was 8-4. And scorers included Giggs, Scholes, Neville, Jordi Cruyff. Alex Notman scored a couple of goals. Alex Notman is notable because he was absolutely class on an earlier version of Championship Manager. And I think it was 97-98 season, which was a classic year. Cantona scored himself as well. And the European 11 was selected by Cantona. And the players were Jean-Pierre Papin, Ballon d'Or winner, Laurent Blanc, who had just won the World Cup, Martin Darlin, he was a good player, Paul Gascoigne played. Ooh, wow. I can't get the teams for some reason. Beckham played. Yeah, I remember that. So this was just after the World Cup. Do you know what? This is going to annoy me now. I want to know what that starting 11 was. Munich, testimonial, 1998. 1998, here we go. Got to be on that one. Sorry, guys, but this is really annoying me, this. Got to be there. What's that? No, it's not coming up. It's not coming up. I've neglected just too long. But anyway, that was the Big D's first ever Old Trafford game, and it was class. It was really good. But let's go back to the chat. Let's see. Bang, bang. I love my uncle Casemiro, but he needs legs around him if he's going to work. I 100% agree, bang, bang, which is what I've been saying. He's sticking with someone that's got some legs, like Kobbie Mainoo, or even Ugarte. He'll do well. Niche fan, it's going to have to be Lammens, De Ligt, Shaw, Yoro, Dorgu, Diallo, Mazraoui, Ugarte, Bruno, Cunha, and Mbeumo. That's an interesting side. Are you sure that's right, Niche fan? So let me just write that down. So Lammens. Let's see. By the way, if anyone's in front of the computer, which I'm sure you are, if you can find that Munich testimonial 1998 Cantona 8-4 match, and if you can find the starting 11, the big day would be greatly appreciated. And I'm looking at you, famous number 7. Let's have a look here. What's wrong with this bloody pen of mine, eh? It keeps on not working. Well, it's no wonder. There's no ink in it. So where are we at here? Niche fan, I tell you what, mate, you've got some interesting starting 11s. I'll give you that, mate. I still remember that one from the other night. I was talking to my friend about it the other day. So anyway, so you've got Lammens in the nets here. You're going with De Ligt. You're going with Shaw and Yoro. You're going with Dorgu. Diallo, I'm assuming you want on the right wing back. Mazraoui and Ugarte in midfield. Is that what you mean? I mean that could be insane or it could be brilliant. Because let's be honest, Mazraoui is fantastic on the ball, and he is really good on the ball. I'll tell you what, mate. If I was playing Football Manager right now, I would train Mazraoui just to see if that worked. Play him as a defensive midfielder. Because that sounds so crazy, it might even just work. A bit like, well, did he play with Philipp Lahm? Or he must have met him. He must have seen him. He used to play for Mazraoui. He used to play for Bayern Munich, sorry. So why couldn't he be our version of Philipp Lahm? He used to play a right back. He used to play a right wing back. He used to play a defensive mid. Hey, that could be a shout. But you're also saying Mbeumo, Bruno and Cunha up front. That's good crack, that. Fair enough, niche fan. Yeah, why not? Mazraoui and Ugarte, or Mazraoui and Casemiro, or Mazraoui and Mainoo. I mean, we've already got an overabundance of players on the right now, Diallo and Dalot, and we've got Leon and Dorgu on the left. Why not train Mazraoui to be a defensive midfielder? That is an absolutely inspired shout, niche fan. I will give you that, sir. Bang bang. What are you saying? Bang bang, have you said the same thing twice? Bang bang, you've said the same thing twice, mate. But that's all right. I forgive you. Niche fan, I will play Mainoo. He doesn't want to be here. Wouldn't play Mainoo. Well, we're going to have to be honest. I think he's just being sat down and told and given the facts of life a little bit that he hasn't made it. He's got the opportunity to make it, but he needs to put the effort in and he needs to stop whinging and he needs to, earn his way in that team, Baleba, he's gone forever. Why would he come to us when he could go to Real Madrid? I don't think he'd get in the Real Madrid's team, mate, to be honest. I mean, they've got an overabundance of midfielders. I mean, who've Real Madrid got now? They've got Bellingham, they've got Valverde, they've got Camavinga, Tchouaméni can play at defensive midfield as well. They've got loads of players. So, I don't know. Famous number 7, let's not get obsessed with transfers. United is built on its academy, some very promising midfielders in there, and they don't cost 150 mil. I mean, that's quite a good shout, famous number 7. If you want to throw some names out for the chat to have a little look at, that would be grand, because the Big D would like to know a couple of these as well. Niche fan, 30 million for Onana when Antony was 22 million, not in a million years. Come on, niche fan. You know the Big D likes to be positive, mate. Let's turn this frown upside down. 30 million. The Saudis will pay 30 million for him, no problem, because they're stupid with their money. They don't care. 30 million is like 30 quid to us. Rudiono Zulkarnain. That's an interesting name, mate. That is one of the most interesting names I've read on my chat. Where are you from, sir? I'd like to know, but wherever you're from, welcome to the late stream, and you're with the Big D. So you're saying we still have Sekou Kone if he is needed. Yeah, I've heard of him. He's meant to be quite good. Fair enough. Get him in the get him training with the first team. Let's see how he does. You are Carlos Big D. Kiro's like, I told you the other night. Of course, you make sense. Well, I try. I certainly try. Everything's just logical, mate, Niche fan, I'd play 4-3-3. Lammens, Dorgu, Yoro, Delete, Diallo. Mazraoui, Ugarte, Bruno, Ahmad, Cunha. I think you've got Diallo and Ahmad. Do you mean Dallo? Is that what you mean? So Dalot at right wing back, Dorgu at left wing back, Yoro and Delict in the middle, with Mazraoui, Ugarte and Bruno as the 3 central midfielders with Ahmad, Cunha and Mbeumo up front. Is that what you mean, mate? I don't think he's going to play 4-3-3, mate. He's sticking with 3-4-3. But the thing is, with 3-4-3, it is an interesting formation because it can morph very easily into 4-3-3. It can morph into 4-4-2. It can morph into quite a few things actually, depending on what's happening in the state of the play at that time. Bang bang, Mourinho done well at Manchester United. Justice for Mourinho. Oh, Mourinho, Jose Mourinho done well. Yeah, he did. He won the Europa League for the first time in United's history. Fair play to him. I got a hands down. Who give me the thumbs down? Who? How dare you, sir? Who give me the thumbs down? Oh, it's gone. Thank you so much. I hope that was a mistake, sir. Big D only talks sense on this channel, sir. But if you disagree, that's fine. If Big D has said anything, you have every right to disagree. Put it in the chat. The Big D reads all of the chat. And remember, the Big D is more than happy to listen to what you guys have got to say. Big D's just playing with some sound effects that he keeps on forgetting to use. Emmanuel Asifois, Manchester is my heaven. Oh, right. Fair enough. And bang bang. If I was stuck in a rival fan's end, I would put on an American accent and pretend I am an American trying to understand English football. And I'll even say the dreaded word that I hate soccer. Well, see, the thing is, bang bang, the Big D doesn't live his life in fear. So he was in that end. When I say he doesn't live his life in fear, some might say the Big D's stupid. But the Big D likes to put a positive spin on these things, as you well know. And the Big D didn't care at the time and probably could have got his head kicked in because every time Man United did something, he was trying to cheer. And when Eric Cantora's name was announced on the tannoy in the start 11 and the whole Leeds end and everyone around him was booing incessantly, the Big D, he was the little D at the time, was giving it yay like this. So, yeah. So, no. The Big D is a little bit nuts when it comes to things like that. Emmanuel Asifois, hey, I like the fact, Emmanuel, you are new to this chat and you are talking, you are getting your points across. I welcome that, sir. Well done. What is the United problem now? The United problem now is Ruben Amorim playing his best players in the right positions. That's what he needs to do. Bang, bang, just to troll them. Fair enough. Emmanuel, because of United, Chelsea fans are always insulting me. Really? I've never had any problems with Chelsea fans, generally speaking. I've always kind of gotten on with them. I don't know, maybe it's a generational thing. I mean, how old are you, Emmanuel? Are you in the Big D's age range? Are you a millennial? I'm an early millennial, born in the early 80s, so I'm in my early 40s at this point. So, I don't know. I've never had a lot of problems with Chelsea fans. We've always seemed to have gotten on. I've always appreciated Chelsea, to be quite honest, because that Mourinho Chelsea team got the best out of Manchester United and helped, helped inspire the greatest Man United team of all time, that 07-08 team. And it was brilliant. Nikolai, off topic. How well would Roy Keane do today in a mid-table team in the English Premier League? Would he dominate? Feel like he was limited in some attributes besides work rate, spirit, and leadership, etc. Nikolai, I couldn't disagree more, my friend. I think Roy Keane is the greatest Premier League player of all time. He's the type of player that elevates any team that he's in. He's not reliant upon people around him. The people around him are reliant on him. So he's the kind of player that makes everyone around him better just through his drive, his work ethic, his leadership, him leading by example. He could carry the ball. He had an amazing engine. He could run for 90 minutes, no problem. He was one of the best tacklers in the league. He was actually one of the best passers in the league as well. His technique is often overshadowed by his personality that he always goes on about. But I mean, Paul Scholes as a passer wasn't much better than Roy Keane. And sort of tacklers like Rio Ferdinand and Nemanja Vidic, they weren't much better than Roy Keane. Roy Keane was an incredibly well-rounded player who could get into any team in football history. He was absolutely magic. So if you put him in like the team at the bottom of the league, he would elevate that team, no problem. I'm not saying that he would make them win the league, of course. I mean, even great players need other great players around them to win leagues. But a player like Roy Keane elevates the teams that they are in, you know. So yeah, Roy Keane was absolutely amazing. Go back and look at a highlight reel of Roy Keane in his prime, and you'll see exactly what I mean. See, the thing is, I don't know how old you are, Nikolai, but I've supported United for about 30 years now. So for the first 25 of those years, or whatever it was, up until 2013, Man United always had world-class players in their team. So it was the norm to have a player like Roy Keane. So you kind of got used to it. And it's only been since 2013 when we've had players like Morgan Schneiderlin and Marouane Fellaini in central midfield that we realise that, oh, that's actually the norm when it comes to footballers. Morgan Schneiderlin and Marouane Fellaini are normal players. Roy Keane wasn't normal. But because when you're growing up eating caviar, you just kind of get used to caviar being normal, if that makes sense, you know. And it's only now that we've been on fish and chips for the past 15 years or whatever it is. Actually, no, I'm not going to say that because there's nothing wrong with fish and chips. Now that we've been on McDonald's hamburgers for the past 13 years, we kind of miss caviar and we didn't realize how good we had it, back then. But yeah, Nikolai, go back, look at Roy Keane's highlight reel, and you will see what a force of nature that guy was. Bear in mind, his greatest game in a Man United shirt was in 1999 in the Champions League semi-final, second leg, at Juventus, in Turin, at the Stadio Olimpico. I think that's what they called it at the time. Now, he dominated that midfield on his own almost, right? Now, bear in mind who he was playing against. He was playing against Antonio Conte, Edgar Davids, prime Edgar Davids, and prime Zinedine Zidane. And he ran past all of them and literally carried Man United to the Champions League final, even though he was suspended. Nikolai, Roy Keane was amazing. If prime Roy Keane was around now and United paid 200 million for him, that would be a snip. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant player. And again, I reiterate this, and I've said it on multiple videos and streams. Check out all my commentary videos from clips from the overlap and all of that. Roy Keane is the greatest player in the history of the Premier League, right? You might disagree, you might think it's someone else. Please don't say Thierry Henry, because that's just a can of worms waiting to be popped open. But anyway, yeah. But yeah, off topic. Fair enough. I like these off topic questions. Keep them coming, Nikolai. Everyone else, keep them coming. All you guys, all 59 of you watching, remember, thoughts in the chat. The Big D reads all of the chat and he's always interested in what is on your mind. The Big D is going to be wrapping things up soon because the Big D wants to go and watch Wedding Crashers randomly. He was having a little chat with his friend. Earlier, we were talking about Tin Pot Ten Hag getting sacked after 2 Bundesliga games. And, we called him an idiot, which he is, because he sold David De Gea. And, or he let him go even. And I just couldn't stop thinking of Will Ferrell in Wedding Crashers when he just steals the whole show in about 2 minutes, calling people idiots. It was fantastic. But anyway, yeah, off-topic conversations, they are good. Niche fan. Fergie also had some clangers. Jemper, Tosic, and Taibbi. I agree. He has had some clangers, to be fair. Remember Bebe? He was crap as well. Yeah, Taibbi, remember that match? He let the ball in his nets. He let the ball in the net through his legs. I was behind that goal. Jemba Jemba. Do you know what? I've started a retro game on FM24, and it's the 04-05 season. So Eric Jemba Jemba's in that team, and I've got myself an absolutely brilliant director of football or a head of whatever who's got scouting ability 5-star, right? And potential ability 5-star, current ability and potential ability both at 5 stars, right? And sorry, the big D's going a bit delirious. Sorry, he's got judging current ability and potential ability at 20 out of 20, right? And they've assessed Jemba Jemba, and Jemba Jemba has got 5-star potential ability on it insanely, and he's already at like 3.5 stars on current ability, which is still class. That must have been an oversight on whoever made that bloody that retro database, but who knows. But we're on 59 viewers at the moment. We were on 79 earlier on, and I tell you what, so far I think this has been my highest viewership of a live stream so far. So thank you all for watching, and thank you all for commenting. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Anyway, Omar Al-Azawi. Omar Al-Azawi. A classically trained actor. Can't read people's bloody names. I do apologise, Omar. The fact that we didn't sign a new CM will bite our asses throughout the season. Watch and see. I hope not. I hope not. I like Niche fans' idea of training Mazraoui to be a central midfielder. I think that would be good. Yeah, which Niche fan actually says there. Kida Gamer, have Baleba signed yet? No, unfortunately not. King Tracks, why didn't Sancho work at United? Is Man U that different? Yeah, Sancho's a dickhead. That's why it didn't work out at Man United, unfortunately. Omar, they are so different in their play styles. You can't compare them. Yeah, but, you know, if he trains... Niche fan, I don't want Mainoo. He doesn't want to be here. Mazraoui can play in there. I think you guys are having a nice little chat between yourselves. Fair enough. Are you back of savings? Are you back of savings? Cheese news. What are you on about, pal? I think you're going to have to get the old Google Translate on that one, mate. Happy to hear what you've got to say, but I'm not entirely sure what you mean. Cheese news, sir. Bang Bang Pack for Life, Premier League game of the 98-99 season. So Alex selected a lineup including Schmeichel, Neville, Johnson, Stam, Irwin, Beckham, Keane. Team has been delivered to me, Big D. Oh, okay. Let's see. Okay. Well done, famous number 7. Thank you, sir. So the Manchester United 11 for that Munich testimonial match. That was quite a good team. So Culkin in the nets, May, Brown, the 2 Nevilles in defence, Beckham, Keane, Butt, Scholes, Giggs and Sheringham up front. And the international 11, Festa, Blanc, William Prunier, remember him? He played for us for a couple of games in 1996. He was class. And then we didn't sign him. Brian Robson played. Oh, I've seen Brian Robson play football before. And I can't remember. Mark Hughes. Oh, Mark Hughes. Oh, he was my first ever favourite player. The first ever Man United shirt I ever bought was the one with the little laces there. It was from the 93-94 season. You put the collar up. It was the season we'd done the double for the first time, and you could tie the little laces there. And I had Hughes 10 on the back. And Jean-Pierre Papin, fantastic line. Cantona. Well done, famous number 7. Good lad. I think Bang Bang's done it as well for me as well. Thank you, sir. Yeah, that was right before we done the treble, actually. Kiddy Gamer, Baleba, he's not signing, mate. Unfortunately, they didn't want to sell him. CRM Lammens, glad we have on board a real bargain. Yeah, hopefully. Niche fan playing Ahmad at winger. Next summer, we'll be going all in for Baleba, probably. Justice for to hear. Ten Hag getting the sack today. I agree, my friend. Yeah, Niche fan, you love playing 4-3-3. You have got your own philosophy, sir. Although that team that you told me the other night when you were talking about your greatest Man United 11, that was a 4-4-2, mate, you had. How dare you, Bang Bang, you cheeky bugger. Bang Bang says that I appreciate Chelsea and I go to Man City concerts. Are you a little bit of a traitor, Mr. Big D? Do you know what? Yeah, you might have a point there, mate. I went to see Oasis, obviously, at Wembley Stadium, though. But I went to see Bon Jovi at the Etihad one year as well in 2008. But I couldn't concentrate unless I spat on the floor first. So please forgive me. But yeah. But yeah, thanks for pointing that out, Bang Bang. Well, you perfect too, mate. Huh? Messi's better than Ronaldo. Ha! Gary Gamer, you're a Zennial if you're born in the early 80s. I'm an early millennial as I was born in the late 80s. Millennial was 1980 to about 1994, Gary Garner. CRM, you don't captains like Keane now, you have scrub captains like Odegaard. I agree. Joel, good window, but not the best. We had an attack issue last season and brought in two of the best attackers in the league. We also got a young and no doubt talented young striker. I agree. Niche fans perfect front three. Isaac, Cunha and Haaland. CRM, back then you had captains like Keane, Adams and Vieira. Now you have Henderson, Odegaard spending time flicking their hair. Yeah. Do you know what, Gary? You say that the game is so technical now, it probably wouldn't allow for a Roy Keane to be the best version of himself. I don't think so. I don't think that's right because I think, I think Roy Keane would adapt, no problem. Yeah, I think he would adapt. I mean, you still get feisty players like him in this tiki-taka era. I mean, look at Luis Suarez at Barcelona. You know, he got sent off plenty of times, and he was able to play in these kinds of eras. And Javier Mascherano as well. He adapted well at Barcelona, so I don't see why Roy Keane wouldn't adapt. And anyway, to be fair, the players also define the league. Define football as well, because the tiki-taka situation was only allowed to work because Barcelona had Xavi, Iniesta, and Messi. I mean, as soon as those guys moved away, it was very difficult for anyone to sort of keep that game going, that tiki-taka game going. I mean, Pep Guardiola only implemented it in Germany because he had no real rivals in Germany, And plus, the Germans are quite technical anyway. They can adapt to most things. But when he went to Man City to implement it, he had to spend an absolute fortune to get the right players in to do it. So, yeah, I think Roy Keane would have been fine, to be honest. And yeah, I miss the days of Roy Keane and Patrick Vieira too. I think we've gone past the best era of football. King Tracks, yeah, you've got a point. Lammens, yeah, it's a big jump for him. Hopefully he does well. Tim Howard was bad. Yeah, I agree. CRM, he's not the worst goalkeeper we've had. I mean, look at the guys we've got now. Eric Jemba, yeah, bang bang, that's right. Eric Jemba. I think I'm coming to the end of these chats. I'm gonna have to. Sorry, guys, I'm gonna have to be a little bit more selective with these comments because we're running out of time. It's getting a bit late, and the Big D wants to go and watch Wedding Crashers, and his voice is starting to go hoarse. So I'm going to reply to Nikolai. Fun fact: Roy Keane won Most Technical Player at Ireland Under-15s in 1987 as a kid, from the book Keane Origins by O'Callaghan. Yeah, I've read that book. I've read Roy Keane's books. Yeah, I've listened to. Sorry, no. When I was reading Roy Keane's books, it was really weird because the ghostwriter was able to sort of capture Keane's voice really well. So when I was reading it, I could just hear Roy Keane's voice in my head. It was really cool. Nikolai, I was kind of rage baiting you into saying what I also think. Haha, he's my favourite player of all time. Well, if you want to rage bait me, think better things than that. If you want to rage bait me, say Arsenal. The Invincibles team is the greatest team in the history of the Premier League, and that Thierry Henry was the best player in the world. That will rage bait me. So if that's what you want to do, then that's what you need to say, mate. Nikolai, thanks for your. You are more than welcome, my friend. Remember to like, share, and subscribe this stream so you know when the next Big D stream hits, because you are welcome back anytime, my friend. Niche fan, do you know what, mate? I'm not having that. Keane wouldn't work in today's game. Behave yourself. Of course he would, mate. I think I've come to the very end of that. I'll tell you what, those were so many comments. So many comments. Bang, bang, Pat for life. Yeah, and this is the last one. Bang, bang. Yeah, the bigger your chat gets, it's going to be hard to respond to every single message. Over time, you are going to have to adapt and become a little bit more selective. Talking of adaptation, absolutely. But remember, the super chats, if you want to get those chats spoken about, send me a couple of quid so the Big D can send Big Ron to the Circus Tent Stadium with his brand new season ticket that's going to cost 10 grand. Ha ha ha. Bang bang. What are you saying? Where do that Arsenal team rank? Agree that they're not the best and Thierry's not the best. I think Rooney better than him personally. I agree. I think the Arsenal team of 98 was probably the best Arsenal team that they've had in the Premier League era. I think people talk about Arsene Wenger revolutionising English football. No, he didn't. Because they say, he became more professional, diet and all of that. Alex Ferguson was doing that like about 4 seasons before Arsene Wenger, because he used to send Brian Kidd to Italy to go and watch Juventus train. And he used to come back with all these notes and stuff like that. And Eric Cantona used to tell Alex Ferguson about what they were doing in France and stuff. So I don't buy that at all, really. But yeah, Arsene Wenger, they haven't won the Champions League, so they can't be that revolutionary, And I mean, Bergkamp flopped in Italy when Italy was the best team, the best league in the world. So, I mean, he's come to England, which wasn't the best league in the world at the time, and flourished, fair enough, but he didn't win a European Cup. Fair enough, he won a couple of Premier Leagues, fine. So he was a brilliant player to watch, and he was a brilliant player, don't get me wrong, but Arsenal were never the top team, just like Henry and Bergkamp were never the top players, because to be a top player, a top manager, a top league, you need to win the top trophies. You need to win the Champions League or the World Cup or whatever, right? So Alex Ferguson won the Champions League a couple of times. Arsene Wenger hasn't won it. So Arsene Wenger's not in the same conversation as Alex Ferguson. It is what it is. Eric Cantona was not a top player because he never won the Champions League, he never won the World Cup with France. So it's the same with Bergkamp. And with Thierry Henry is an interesting one. Now, Thierry Henry, I think, was better than those other two players, fair enough. But again, he was not the top player in his era. And he wasn't. Because when he won the trophies that he won, the big trophies, and he did win them, fair enough, he won the World Cup, I think. Was he in that France team in 98? I'm not sure. I think he was. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he was. So let's see, he won the World Cup, fair enough. And he won the Euros, fair enough. And he won the Champions League, fair enough. But he wasn't the main man. Zidane was the main man for France. Everything went through him. And when Thierry Henry went to Barcelona to win the Champions League, Lionel Messi was the main man. He was always a supporting act. So if you're going to be the top player, you need to be the main man in the biggest teams, winning the biggest trophies and making the difference that gets that team over the line. That's why Ronaldinho was a top player. That's why Zidane was a top player. R9, Cristiano, Messi, top players, right? Roy Keane was a top player. He got the Man United team over the line in that semi-final against those players. And he got them to the final. Now, it's a shame he didn't win, but he got them there. And, I mean, would have won comfortably if he'd have played, and we all know that. So yeah, that's my opinion on that. I agree with that second comment, and I half agree with the second to the last comment, Niche fan. I love Keane too much, way too much. Well, Roy Keane's made me a lot of money on my YouTube channel, and also Roy Keane was a fantastic player. He was. He's not a great pundit, I must admit, but he's funny and he's a character, so fair enough. He was a bit of a brute, but he was a brilliant player as well. So his brutishness overshadowed how good he was. But yeah. Yeah, of course, Alex Ferguson said Roy Keane wasn't a top player because Alex Ferguson has got a rivalry with him. Roy Keane said he's the only world-class players he ever had were Giggs, Scholes, Cantona, and Cristiano Ronaldo. Right? That's what he says. And that is absolutely ridiculous. Of course it's ridiculous. So Wayne Rooney wasn't world class. Ruud van Nistelrooy wasn't world class. Van der Sar, Peter Schmeichel, Rio Ferdinand, Brian Robson, Nemanja Vidic, they weren't world class. Roy Keane was unquestionably world class. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean, Niche fan. So you telling me there was only 4 world class players that Alex Ferguson's ever coached? Come on now. Come on, you know fine well. Alex Ferguson is just trolling everyone when he said that because he's a master manipulator and he likes to wind people up. You know fine well. Because, I mean, let's look at Fergie's greatest ever 11, let's say, right? Out of all the players that he's managed at Man United, his best 11, let's say we play 4-4-2, right? Let's just say we play 4-4-2, right? So Schmeichel's going to be in the nets. So there's one world-class player. You've got Gary Neville right back. I'm not going to say he's world-class necessarily compared to the others, but you could argue he was world-class in his position. But just for talking's sake, we're not going to put him in this one. Jaap Stam was world-class. Rio Ferdinand was world-class. Dennis Irwin was world-class. So we've got 4 world-class players so far. Cristiano on the right, world-class. Scholes and Keane in the middle, both world-class. Giggs on the left, world-class. Rooney and Van Nistelrooy, world-class. So there's 4, 4, 5, 6. There's 4, 4, 4, 8, 9. There's 10 players. 10 players who were truly world-class. And there's more that were world-class as well. Of course. So Fergie's just being a troll niche fan. You know he is. Look, CRM, look at Roy Keane's press conference where the mobile goes off, Keane goes mad, pure gold. Yeah, it is. I've seen that one. It's good, that. Miguel 7M. I rate this window 6 out of 10. That's quite low, that, mate. I'd give it an 8. Bang, right. Do you know what? I'm going to have to wrap this up. Because niche fans get a little bit irate and I don't want him to get upset. Funny enough, you mentioned the Mourinho Chelsea team. I think that team from 04-05 to 05-06, that Chelsea team is better than Arsenal's Invincibles. I agree, 100%. 100%. Well, they dominated the league after that, didn't they? And the only reason that Invincibles won the league that year was because they got a massive assist from the English FA for banning Rio Ferdinand for 7 months. Emmanuel, United should wake up. I agree. Vidic, yeah, world class. Niche fan, behave. Go back on YouTube and look up highlights of Roy Keane, niche fan. How old are you, niche fan? Please tell me. I want to know how old you are, sir. But niche fan's going to tell me how old he is, and then after that, the big D is off. But in rebuttal to saying you respect that Chelsea team for making Man United better, if that's the case, you might as well say you respect Liverpool for winning in the 70s and 80s. Stop putting words in my mouth. Bang, bang. I never respect Liverpool. Never respect them. Scousers. Behave yourself, sir. Niche fan. Well, so you're saying you get that I'm an actor and I'm doing it really well. Well, thank you. Yes, I am professional. Master's degree, 14 years experience, professional at the highest level. Anyway, acting comes from a place of truth, niche fan. All the great actors tell the truth through character. So, is the Big D a character? Maybe it is. But Dominic, through the Big D, is telling the truth. And the truth is, and you know it, Roy Keane is better than Patrick Vieira. Of course. He's even admitted it as well. But anyway, we're going to wrap up. The Big D's voice is hoarse. He wants to watch Wedding Crashers. And he wants to breathe. But tonight has been very good. I've really enjoyed chatting to all of you guys. It has to have been the highest viewed stream of my streaming career thus far. And niche fan, you, sir, I'm not taking that bait. I'm not taking that bait. But it's been a lovely evening tonight, chatting to all of you, even the ones that disagree, niche fan. W stream, do you mean a win stream? Is W for the stream? Is that what you mean, sir? Niche fan, I think you're just trolling at this point, niche fan. Right, how many people's watching? Right, there's 34 people watching. Are you guys looking at the chat? Are you looking at what niche fan's saying? He's saying no serious football person would say Keane was world class. That is absolutely terrible. Terrible. Yeah, I love you too, niche fan. I know we're only playing. But anyway, it's been really nice talking to all you guys. Shout out to Niche, Bang Bang, the regulars. You have been brilliant as always. I look forward to chatting to you guys very, very soon again. When that will be, I'm not sure. We've got that stupid international break, haven't we? It's been absolutely, it's going to be crap, isn't it? England are playing Andorra. Andorra? Who cares? Andorra shouldn't even be in the same city as England. They should be in some crap group stage with San Marino and Liechtenstein. Let them fight it out so they can get a win for the first time in 30 years. And then if they're good enough, then go up and get fed to one of the big boys. Because this is ridiculous. But anyway, remember, like, share and subscribe. Remember to click the notification button so you know when the next Big D stream hits. And remember, if there's anything in your mind, put it in the chat, put it in the comments. Watch out for all my commentary videos as well. Check out me Insta and me TikTok at the Big D _ Insta, at the Big D _ TikTok as well. And remember, always, the Big D loves you all, and the Big D will see you in the next one. Ciao.